Hey, did you know that some of the sports we take for granted today were actually inspired by games so wacky that they were forgotten in time? Stick around, because what I'm about to reveal will have you seeing sports history in a whole new light. Welcome to a brand new episode of Facts and Giggles, entertaining info in a nutshell. All right, let's kick things off with something called shin kicking. Yes, you heard that right, shin kicking. This bizarre sport comes straight out of 17th century England, and it's exactly what you think it is. Two competitors would grab each other by the shoulders, steady themselves, and then proceed to kick each other in the shins until someone couldn't stand the pain anymore. Apparently, competitors would stuff their pants with hay for cushioning, but still, yikes. And you thought your gym teacher was tough. Now, while shin kicking may sound like a joke, it was a real competitive event in something called the Cotswold Olympic Games. Yes, Olympic with a K. Don't expect high-tech equipment here. The highlight of the games included other unusual activities like sledgehammer throwing and wrestling. It was basically a county fair but with extra bruises. Moving on, ever heard of hot cockles? No, that's not the name of a bad rock band. Hot cockles was a game popular in medieval Europe. The rules were simple. One person would kneel down, cover their eyes, and try to guess who was hitting them from behind. That's pretty much it. People entertained themselves without screens, okay? My guess is it kinda worked like medieval therapy for getting back at your neighbor after they stole your sheep. All right, what about octopus? Nope, it's not underwater hockey. This peculiar Canadian sport from the 1960s was essentially a chaotic free-for-all on a giant mat. Players divided into two teams. One team, the octopuses, would lay sprawled on the ground while the other team tried to run across without being tackled or pulled to the floor. It's like dodgeball, but with more grabbing. I imagine it was mostly a gateway to accidental sprains and giggles. Now, let's get to one of the most confusing sports in history. Egg throwing. It's exactly what the name suggests. You and a partner stand a few feet apart, tossing a raw egg back and forth, trying not to crack it. The further you could stand apart without breaking your egg, the higher you'd score. This might sound like a county fair game, but I kid you not, it was so popular in some villages that it had full-on governing bodies. Imagine practicing day and night only to get yolk all over your hands in the finals. Of course, no discussion about forgotten sports would be complete without mentioning kabaddi. All right, now hold up. I know what you're thinking. Hey, doesn't kabaddi still exist? Yes, it does, especially in South Asia. But here's the kicker. The way it was played historically was absolutely extraordinary. One person on the attacking team would jump into the defender's area, tagging as many as they could and trying to get back to their own side, all while holding their breath. That's right, literally holding their breath the whole time. No wonder it's known as one of the most intense games ever. Talk about cardio. Next up, Trugo. This is perhaps one of the most accidentally hilarious sports in history and hails from Australia. It was invented in the 1920s by railway workers. The objective was to hit a rubber ring as far as possible using, you guessed it, a sledgehammer. Competitors stood in small, fenced lanes that looked more like a cattle chute than anything meant for humans. Think cricket meets high-speed tire toss. It was awkward but exhilarating to watch. And who could forget Sweden's contribution to wacky sporting history? Pesapallo, also lovingly called Finnish baseball. This one's still played today in Finland, but isn't well known worldwide. Its ridiculousness lies in its rules. Instead of pitching the ball directly to the batter, the pitcher literally throws the ball straight up in the air, and the batter has to hit it. Next level wiffle ball? Maybe. But hey, don't judge. This game demands some serious hand-eye coordination. Speaking of Scandinavia, the Norwegians once tried their luck with bossa ball. It's like volleyball. If volleyball players were allowed to climb all over a trampoline and hit the ball with any part of their body, including their feet. Oh, and it was set to live bongo drum music. Yes, this was an actual thing. It's less forgotten and more slightly too extra. Oh, you thought we were done? Hang tight. Here's one more. Enter the bizarre sport of ferret legging, which became oddly popular in England during the 1970s. The rules, or should I say lack of rules, were simple. Contestants had to put a live ferret inside their trousers and see how long they could last without releasing it. Can you imagine sitting at the pub and someone bragging, "I lasted 2 minutes with a ferret in my pants"? I suppose every generation defines bravery differently. And just when you thought people couldn't outdo themselves, how about underwater rugby? Originating in Germany in the 1960s, it's exactly what it sounds like. Rugby played at the bottom of a swimming pool. 2 teams would battle it out to get a ball weighted with salt water into a small basket on the other side. It's rugby meets snorkeling meets panic. Breathing? Overrated, apparently. Oh, and how could I miss cheese rolling? Probably one of the most internationally infamous forgotten sports that actually still takes place in England. People literally chase a wheel of cheese down an impossibly steep hill. The first one to grab it, or the last one to break a leg, I suppose, wins the ultimate prize, the cheese itself. Yep, you risk your bones for a giant block of dairy. Now that's dedication. So why are all these sports forgotten or less mainstream today? It could be safety concerns, looking at you, shin kicking and ferret legging, practicality, or simply that people moved on to games with more organized rules, or fewer direct kicks to the shin. But for every forgotten sport, there's an echo of it in the games we play today. Like rugby evolved from chaotic village scrums, and dodgeball owes its chaotic energy to early free-for-all face-offs like Octopus. These games may have faded into obscurity, but they sure leave us with plenty of stories and laughs today. What's your favorite wacky sport from this list? Or do you know of one even crazier? Comment below. You might just inspire our next episode. Thanks for tuning in to Facts and Giggles, entertaining info in a nutshell. See you next time.